Hello friends, a very warm welcome to my channel. In today's video we are going to talk about another power generation company. Earlier we had analyzed SJVN also in this sector. So we understood that SJVN is coming up with huge capacity expansions, especially in the renewable space. Similar trend we will observe in JSW Energy also. So this is going to be a very crisp and interesting video. If you are new to the channel, please do subscribe and hit the bell icon to get updates of all the new videos which I upload. And if you're not a part of our Telegram channel yet, which is a free channel, do click the link in the description button and join that channel. Every day morning we discuss the market view and strategies which will help you manage your portfolios and increase your returns. So let's talk about JSW Energy in this video. This will be the flow of our discussion. We'll discuss the business model in brief. We'll look at the stock performance in the last few years. We will look at the main financial parameters. We'll understand what led to the jump in the stock price in the last couple of years. We'll understand the outlook of the management going forward. We'll talk about the risks, valuations, and we'll form an overall view on the stock. So JSW Energy is a power generation company. It generates power using different sources of energy like thermal, hydro, renewable, etc. So it has its main power assets located in states like Karnataka, Maharashtra, Nandyal and Salboni. So this company has several organizations below it. So they have a lot of subsidiaries and joint ventures, and this is the holding company of all the projects. For most of the power which it generates, more than 80% is entered into the PPAs, which is power purchase agreements. So there is no uncertainty for the sale. They are assured that whatever power they generate will be sold to the party which has entered into the power purchase agreement with this company. So only then these kind of companies can come up with huge investments in the power generation plants. This company also does projects for both private and public enterprises. We'll talk about it more in the coming slides. So as of now, the company has about 7,500 megawatts of capacity. And in the next few years, the company aims to double this capacity to almost 15,000 megawatts, which is about 15 gigawatts. So right now, the installed capacity of 7,500 megawatts. Out of this, thermal is about 3,500, wind is about 2,000, hydro is about 1,400 megawatts, and solar is 675. So they are at present having lower capacities of solar, whereas wind and hydro are the major parts in the renewable energy space. So this company calls hydro also under the renewable energy space. Then on top of this 7,500, these are the projects in the pipeline. Solar of about 2,700 megawatts, wind of about 1,000. So going forward, solar is taking over wind in terms of quantum of capacity addition. Hybrid would be about 2,000 megawatts. And the under construction projects which have already started comprise of wind of about 1,700 megawatts. Now thermal, if you observe, is very less in this, just about 350 megawatts. So they are not focusing on thermal much now. And hydro about 240. So when we add all this, they have a clear plan to reach about 15,000 megawatts in the near future. So this company operates in these different segments, and when it reaches about 15,000 megawatts, this will be the spread broadly. Thermal will go down to 25%, solar will go up to 22%, hydro will remain around 11%, and wind will go up to almost 30%, and hybrid will be about 12%. So this will be the spread when it reaches 15,000 megawatts. And apart from this, the company is also into battery energy storage systems. So in the renewable energy like wind and solar, there is no continuous flow of energy, and that's why this has to be conserved and saved, and later can be sent to the grids in a continuous form. So they have about 1.3 gigawatts of BESS installed, and they are having further extension about 3.7 gigawatts in the near future. They are also working on hydro pump storage. They are also taking up green hydrogen projects to begin with their group companies itself. And they have also done backward integration, and they will further extend this capacities of manufacturing solar modules, and which is at present around 1 gigawatts capacity. So you can see they are building the entire ecosystem around renewable energy space. That's why this company is into the limelight. They have a few joint ventures, the first one being 7624 with Maharashtra State Electricity Commission for transmission of power. Then 4951 joint venture with a company called Bama Lignite Mining Company for lignite mining. And they also have several subsidiaries to do different segments of businesses, which we have discussed in the earlier slide. So this is a broad understanding of the business what this company does. Now, when you look at the stock price prior to COVID, the stock was in a long consolidation phase for a very long time, below 100 rupees. Post-COVID, with the requirement of lot of power in various spheres of economy due to the infrastructure development in the company and also new areas of technology like AI, people realized that they will need much more power in the coming years or decades. And that brought all the power generation companies into the limelight, and these companies started expanding their production capacity. This led to the rally in the stock, which took it to almost 400, which is almost 4x from the consolidation range, and it retraced back to almost 250% down from there, and then began a fresh rally to almost 700 now. Now, obviously, because of these kind of run-up which the stock has given, the valuations have drastically changed for this company. When you look at the financial highlights, in the last 5 years, the revenue has gone up from about 8,000 crores to 11,500 crores. But looking at the stock price, you will not see a substantial rise in revenue in the last 5 years. When you look at the EBITDA, it has gone up from about 3,500 crores to about 5,382 crores. Now again, there is not much rise in EBITDA, which is in line with the growth in the valuations of the company. EBITDA margins have more or less maintained and somewhere around 40 to 50%. So when the revenue growth is steady, EBITDA growth is steady, but there is not a drastic jump in the revenue or EBITDA, then what led to the rise in the stock price? We'll discuss that in the coming slides. So when you look at the power generation capacity year on year, last year in Q1 FY24, it was about 6,700 megawatts, which increased to almost 7,880 megawatts right now. And the major chunk of increase in this was from hydro, which was about 700 megawatts. And the next came wind at around 300 megawatts. Thermal was just about 180 megawatts. So this clearly understands that in the last 1 year, the capacity additions from the renewable space has been higher for this company. So the net power generation was 18% overall in terms of volume, and renewables went up 44%. But when you look at the revenue growth, it is not in line with this 18% growth in volume, because there was a price reduction by the company because the coal prices fell and the company had to reduce the power prices to pass on the cost to the end customers. They recently raised about 5,000 crores in QIP, and the return ratios of the company are not that impressive. The ROC is just about 8.5%, and a part of the holding of about 7% is pledged by the promoters. Debt is very high for the company. It's about 1.5, the gross debt to equity ratio, which is about 1.3x the net debt to equity ratio. The company is unable to generate free cash flows as they are in expansion free, and they are continuously spending more and more money in the capex. Now, what led to the rise in the price, which we have discussed? So the volumes have grown. No matter what the price, how the price behaves, the volumes have grown year on year. The profits have steadily grown, although there was not a drastic rise, but the sector came into the limelight. People understood that the next 10-20 years, this sector is going to perform and will have a big tailwind. That led to the re-rating of the stock. And on top of it, the company focused on renewables, which is again a hot topic, which is catching the eyeballs of people in the industry. And the company started moving in that direction with having long-term growth plans of about doubling their capacities in the next few years. So right now it is at 7.5 gigawatts, and under construction is about 2.3 gigawatts. And as per the strategy 2.0 for the growth of the company wants to extend this capacity of 7.5 gigawatts to 20 gigawatts, which is almost 3x, and want to extend the battery energy storage capacity to almost 40 gigawatts by 2030. So they have a clear vision of multiplying their existing capacities by 3x, storage capacities by 40 gigawatts by the end of 2030. So this clarity gives the investors community a lot of confidence, and that led to the re-rating of the stock. In the renewable space, presently the company has wind capacity of about 3,600 megawatts, hydro of about 1,600, and solar of 675 megawatts. These are the several projects which are presently in the pipeline. Like in the solar, you can see projects with SJVN, SECI, GUNL. In wind, they have again projects of about 1,025 megawatts. Hydro, they have about 300 megawatts with SECI. So like this, there are several orders in the pipeline in the renewable energy space. And when it comes to the customer's profile, it is well spread. So there is not much dependence on any particular customer here. So these are some projects which they have begun recently. They started constructing a BESS project of 1 gigawatts for SECI, and for their own group company, which is JSW Steel, they have started a 3,800 TPA green hydrogen project. So now you have got a clarity about the growth plans of the company. Now let's talk about the valuations. Earlier, the stock was trading at an average multiple of about 25 times, 20 to 25 times in the long term. Now this got re-rated, and now the earnings multiple is trading at somewhere around 64 to 65 times, which is quite expensive for a company in this sector. So the market is ready to give such premiums to this company now, because there is clarity of growth. It is moving into the renewables aggressively, and the sector is in the limelight. But from an investor's perspective, entering at these kind of levels as a fresh entry is not a very comfortable valuation at all. Now, what could be the risks of investing in this company? There could be a cyclical element. If you see the last 10 years, the results have not been steadily growing. There will be some ups and downs in the middle. The last 2-3 years might have been good for the company, but it is not certain that the next 2-3 years will be evenly distributed. So there could be some element of cyclicality in this business. If you see the debt trend, it is continuously rising, which is not good for an investor's perspective. There is a small amount of pledge done by the promoters, which is not a big risk to the company. But the return ratios are not that attractive. The company is unable to generate free cash flows because of the capex which they are doing. And that's why they are unable to repay their borrowings also. If at all there is an economic slowdown due to any reason, there could be a big risk for this company because this company's growth is directly linked to the growth of the Indian economy. And if at all the government changes any regulations related to renewables or any other power generation sector, that could have a direct impact on this company. When you look at from an investor's perspective, the valuations are not cheap. So now that you've understood the business model of the company, the growth plans of the company, the financial parameters, the risks involved, and the valuations part, what is your view on the stock? If you're already holding the stock, you should continue to hold because there is a clear-cut vision of the company up to 2030. The capacities are going to be tripled. So you should give it a chance to perform for the next 5-7 years and enjoy the ride. But if you're looking at a fresh entry, you cannot be an aggressive buyer at these levels. You should wait for a retracement in the stock, get the valuations to be cooled off near the averages, and then gradual accumulation would be a very good idea unless you are a very aggressive investor who is going to put a stop loss and buy this share on a technical basis. So that's about JSW Energy. I hope you liked the video. If you like it, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. I've tried to make this video short and conveyed all the important points related to the company. If you want me to make similar videos on some other companies in just 10 minutes, you can drop the name of those companies in the comment section. Do join our Telegram channel using the link in the description button. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.